This is TNA, the new face of professional wrestling.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Feast or Fired. I am Brian with my wife Melanie,
Hello.
and this is the review of the October 30th, 2002 TNA pay-per-view.
Got what it was there for a second?
Well, it's the weekly pay-per-view. Got 8 matches tonight, and a whole lot of bullshit, so let's get through this. Match number 1 was mostly fine. Actually, yeah. Got a bunch of chain wrestling between Tony Mamaluke and Kid Cash going against each other in a little X Division bout. Only things really to note was at some point it looked like Mamaluke really had a problem with Cash at some point during the match, and looked like he was actually like really hitting him like a little shoot thing. And then after that, I don't know if it was Mamaluke was not getting position or Cash was just being way too gentle with how he was doing moves, but they were looking rather loose and ineffective, I guess best way to put it. Finish comes, Cash reverses a pin attempt into the Moneymaker to get the victory. So anyways, yeah, Kid Cash, he's been doing pretty good. A lot of really good showings from him. Right now, I don't know if they're trying to build him up or what, because I think he's the one that was he's the one that was number 2 after Amazing Red, like the elimination thing. It came down to the 2 of them, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So I think we'll see Cash get elevated to the X Division title shot sometime in the near future. That'd be kind of cool to see. Moving on, got an interview with Scott Hall, which is him talking about why he's here in TNA. He's basically, they're a bunch of renegades, and he likes that they're willing to take on the bigger companies and not care about the fact that they look like they're second class right now. I find this kind of unfortunate because tonight's his last night for quite a while. Like everything revolving Scott Hall tonight, considering tonight's his final match. I don't know if that's something that they had, if that was known at the time. So I know if they didn't have the foresight to know this was going to happen, I can't blame them for it. But it's just, the circumstances now looking 20 years in the past are unfortunate. All right, match number 2. Championship Scott Hall versus Ron the Truth Killings. Truth comes out, does a little rap, cuts some music. The crowd is chanting, "You suck," and he responds with saying, "Well, if I suck, you swallow." Thought that was clever. Then he starts going on about backroom politics being introduced by Six Pac and BG James and a lot of them, saying that, it's apparently they're spreading rumors that Jeff Jarrett is Mr. Wrestling 3, and he's doing it all to get at the title belt. And what she responds with basically, he's not even thinking about the title belt because of the politics he's pulling and shit like that. Which I noted that, like, up till a few weeks ago, this was Jarrett's entire thing, and he's still technically seeking the title. He's just trying to earn a title shot now. It's weird because that makes him look like a babyface, though everything else that he does is a heel. So it's weird. Hall comes out, basically says that, R-Truth is R-Truth. Ron Killings is acting like Jeff Jarrett's stooge. And that since I'm your opponent, you really should worry about me, and then some other masked guy. Referring to Mr. Wrestling 3. All right. Don West, right at the beginning of this match, points out, and I think rightfully so, that basically he's pretty sure Jarrett and Mr. Wrestling 3 have been seen together, if not in close enough proximity and time that there's no way they could be the same person.
Yeah.
Which I agree. Even if we hadn't seen things like Mr. Wrestling 3's like hoodie get lifted up to show that he's got like a paunch and shit. So he's definitely in a lot worse shape than Jeff Jarrett's in. Not to mention, probably, I think, shorter. It wasn't even if it wasn't for that, this is a good point. So it's clearly not Jarrett. So them pushing the whole idea that the faces think Jarrett's Mr. Wrestling 3 is silly to me.
It is.
Well, Hall starts the match trying to get into Truth's head a bit. It's fine. He even flicks these little toothpick right between Killing's eyes, which he seems to be very proud of. But Killings does quickly turn the tides in his control, and this gives us a chance to see Hall's incredible selling skills. I'll give Scott Hall credit for one thing. Despite all his demons and his problems, when he's in the ring, he's always like top notch. So I'll give him that. But obviously, he's this huge guy working with, for the most part, little guys, and it's really, really awkward for him, which I think is part of the reason why his matches just seem so lumber.
Possibly.
He doesn't match up with little guys great. And even Truth is smaller. It's smaller and more of the agile type guy, and I don't think they match well. Anyways, Hall does eventually get control back, but at this point in time, Mr. Wrestling 3 tries to get in the ring. Hall does stop him. Even manages to get the mask off, but he throws up his hands over his face, and we never get to see a shot of him. And then he rolls out of the ring just in time for Killings to hit Hall with a move and get the victory. And then even though the mask was removed, we don't get to see who Mr. Wrestling 3 is. And the way they played it, it looks like no one saw it. So, like, Hall didn't see. We don't know who it is still, unfortunately. I know who it is, just because I've read spoilers.
Yeah.
But
he doesn't like surprises.
You are not in any position to talk about that.
I'm
considering we halfway through the first episode of Stranger Things new season, you were like, "Oh, this person and this person dies."
Okay. Oh yeah.
You did.
I regret nothing outside of the fact that it made us stop watching.
It wasn't because of the spoilers. It was because you were giving me spoilers, but also incorrect spoilers.
I was. Maybe it was on purpose. Ha 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 ha. It wasn't. I know,
but it kept you talking while we were trying to watch them.
But he talks during.
Back to the show, please. I don't mean to cut you off, but we don't need to go on that.
Tangent.
All right.
No, I did it.
So, I think we were supposed to. Okay, next segment. I think we were supposed to just get a video package hyping Jarrett versus Hennig tonight, but they informed us that the video package did not work. So I think this next segment was thrown together last second without a plan, just to kill some time. I understand why they would do it. I wish they would have just given that time to another match, but whatever. Jarrett comes out. He thanks the NWA for putting him into tonight's there is a tournament starting tonight with 8 men in it to qualify for a world championship match on Killings. And Jarrett's thanking them for putting him in the tournament so that he can earn his way to get a shot. And he also puts a bounty on Mr. Wrestling 3's head, saying, I'll pay anything, just bring me, proof of who it is.
Pretty much, I'm tired of being blamed.
Yeah, I guess. They're sick of this shit. Hennig does come out early, tries to say something, but Jarrett's not finished, and Hennig's music plays. So, as I said, this being thrown together at the last second, they don't have proper cues. So, it's a little fun. But he comes out, basically says Jarrett's dumb. He basically thinks he's Mr. Wrestling 3, and he's never seen the two in the same place at the same time. Again, silly. I'm almost positive last week Kurt Hennig lost a match because he would be concentrating on Mr. Wrestling 3 and then had just gotten hit with a low blow by Jarrett right after. From a place with too little time for Jarrett to have changed out of that outfit and then come out to hit the low blow. So it's just silly. Silly that he thinks Jarrett is Mr. Wrestling 3. And you would assume this would lead into the match, but no. Instead, the tag team championship match. This is a three-way dance between tag teams: the Hot Shots, the Michaels, and America's Most Wanted. The first two teams to come out are the Hot Shots and Michaels, and they hug each other, basically signaling we're gonna work together. Obviously, not through the entire match, but they have a plan. Basically, we're gonna work together, beat down the other two, so they can't win. AMW, being a house of fire that they have been, come rushing down to the ring and start attacking the Hot Shots outside the ring. We don't do any of their proper entrance stuff. They just rush out and start fighting. Michaels do come out to join in. They fight around on the outside. Each member of AMW has two guys fighting them, one from each team. We see Storm, with the mats get pulled back and Storm gets slammed on the concrete. Stuff like that. Them really trying to put the beat down to Harris and Storm. And then we get some pretty normal fare for a little bit of double teaming on them in the ring for a while. Until eventually one of the Michaels tries to make a pin on, I don't remember which it was, Storm or Harris, but Cassidy O'Reilly breaks it up. And from that point on, it's a normal triple threat tag match. Though most of the rest of it has little bouts of offense from Storm and Harris, but them getting thrown out again because they're selling the fact that they've been beaten up, portion of the match. Though the finish does come, they manage to get back in the ring again, throw out everyone but one of the Hot Shots, I don't remember which one they had, hit a double team guillotine leg drop, and get the victory. So again, they retain their thing, but they're showing that they're not infallible, I suppose, even if they are winning. Then the lights go out.
Bum, bum, bum.
And then the lights come back on. And there's Brian Lee and Slash, and they're attacking everyone. And James Mitchell's on the stage, being the sinister minister he is.
Unfortunately, those are the only two part of that. I'm pretty sure at this point that Slasher's just everybody.
The Disciples of the New Church have had 5 members in these short, by August, 4 months.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months.
With Malice, Tempest, Cobain, and now Brian Lee and Slash. I don't know what's going on. It's just weird that we have this inconsistency outside of Slash. But anyways, to put the point over on what they've come out here to say, basically, Lee choke slams Storm off the stage, and then he sets up Harris on a table underneath a balcony, in which Slash jumps off of and puts Harris through the table. And then Mitchell does some spiel about the Apocalypse. Basically, he's just saying they're basically here to dominate the tag team, which is fine. This is pretty good, pretty standard setup for a monster team. You know what I mean?
I don't know what a monster. Yeah.
It's Harris and Lee did it together back or so. You'll catch on to these things. Don't worry. All right, so we get a sit-down interview with Bob Armstrong, and he says he is making some rules changes to how championships work. Disqualifications and countouts will no longer protect the belt. So if you're the champion, you get disqualified or counted out, you lose your championship. The other guy wins. He also says for this 8-man tournament, he's making the Don Harris the ref because...
I like that. Because I said so.
I guess he thinks he's a good enforcer. I don't know. And then here is the lowest point of the night tonight, where we get match number 4, which is the first qualifier match. And I hate this. I hate everything about this match.
He hated it so much that after this match,
he took a break.
Had to stop it and watch it the next day.
That's fine. It's Ron Harris versus BG James. So we are starting immediately with the obvious conflict of interest of Don Harris being the ref in a match with his brother. All right, we get a slow start to the match. Don Harris, security one, the ref, is calling it down the middle. He's stopping both men from using closed fists, which he does cause the momentum to shift both time he does it. It's fine. The match then gets sort of interrupted as we cut to the back and find that Jeff Jarrett is now attacking Kurt Hennig and has him like covered in blood all over his face, hair. After that, we go back and we see Don Harris stopping James from using, I don't know if he was using the fists again or whatever, but basically, and then James is accusing Don of being protective of his brother. Then we get another cut back, see Hennig getting his head bandaged, which I don't think was necessary. But whatever. BG James goes up to the corner to do like the 10 count punch onto Ron Harris, but Don stops, Don tries to stop this. He shoves Don away so he can do it. And then so Don Harris comes back and pulls him off his brother. Because, you shove the ref and you're, not obeying the rules. That's how this is, anyone who knows enough about this sort of stuff knows that's what's happening. But it's at this point that Bob Armstrong shows up. Comes out, says, I'm firing Don because he feels he's doing a bad job and being unfairly favorable to his brother. In which Don Harris is like, I've been calling it down the middle, and you're just out here protecting your son because BG James is Bob Armstrong's son. Don, infuriated by this, does end up shoving down Bullet Bob. I don't know if the distraction necessarily here caused it, but BG James does get the pin on Ron Harris in this point in time and gets the victory, and then rushes out to check on his dad.
Papa.
Okay.
That was weird.
The reason I hate this is because, one, this match took a backseat to like two other stories. Not that I'm too terribly upset about missing this match, but it's a World Championship tournament match. I think a little bit more care should be given to it. But it's not only that, it's the story they're trying to tell with Don Harris and Bob Armstrong right now. This first match is absolutely stupid and a huge waste of time. Because you can tell this story well and have it make sense. You could have done the other two of the 4 matches that we need to have before this one. Had this one go last, even though I know why they put it first, because it's going to be the worst match out of all of them. But you could have had those other 2 first and maybe shown a little bit of questionable judgment on Don Harris in the matches. Give Bob a reason to keep a closer eye on him during the match with his brother. And then even done something during this match with his brother that made you go, oh, maybe he is showing favoritism. But we don't get that. We get him being put in charge of being a ref in these matches because they're so important. Then we immediately get him calling it down the center in a match with his brother, even though this is a conflict of interest. But as far as we can tell, he's doing the job correctly. Then we get Bob Armstrong firing him in the same match, making the entire putting him in charge pointless, as it didn't even last one match.
True.
It's just an instance where this could have been done so much better in a few other ways, and they chose the, honestly worst way to do it. And it pissed me off. I'm not anywhere near as angry as I was. I'm not anywhere near as angry as the first time we tried recording this, and our recording got corrupted. But it was bad, and it almost ruins the entire show for me tonight. Moving on, because I'm not gonna stay stuck on this. Strata and Priscilla versus Ace Steel and Mortimer Plumtree is the next match that's announced. But when they come out, Plumtree says he won't fight a woman, so he has a replacement who is the most woman in, and which means it's Bruce. I do note that Bruce isn't even wearing his dress anymore. He's just coming out with the tiara and dash on in his normal wrestling gear, and for some reason a tank top.
It's a spaghetti strap tank.
I don't know why. He was shirtless like he was shirtless like a week before. One of the two.
My best bet is that he.
I don't know. We get Steele and Strata starting in the ring with Bruce trying to chase Priscilla around on the outside. But Jorge puts an end to that, doing a dive over the top rope onto Bruce. At this, it becomes basically a handicap match, and for the most part, 2-on-1 in the ring almost all the time. With Jorge trying to make a valiant effort, getting several comebacks, and beating up both guys before the numbers catch up on him. At one point, Priscilla tries to tag in, but Plumtree pulls her down so she can't get the tag. It seems weird to me because I can't imagine she was going to perform any better than Jorge against these two guys.
Don't doubt women.
She's not China. She's not Beth Phoenix. She's not Awesome Kong. She is just a woman.
I'll tell you something.
What?
What? I don't know who any of those.
You'll learn to one of them at least. You'll learn who Awesome Kong is. I'll tell you that much. Okay. Bruce eventually does get the pin on Estrada. Not much note the finish. It was just like a power bomb or something.
Sorry.
What the hell are you doing?
Nothing.
No, what the hell are you doing?
I was trying to figure out where your capture card. Plug it in. And knock something.
Could you just leave it alone until we're done? Your claims are going unheard because you're speaking way too quietly.
Fair enough.
Again, too quiet.
How am I too
No,
quiet?
you're too quiet.
I'm not too quiet. Microphone.
Well, maybe I'll get that blue Yeti mic and we'll fix all our issues.
Maybe.
After the match, the other two beat up Estrada. Mortimer puts Priscilla over his knee and spanks her. I don't know. It's gonna continue. It's fine. Match 6. The second qualifier of the night for the World Championship. Jarrett versus Hennig. There's nothing to this. Hennig wobbles out. Jarrett comes out after him and smacks him with a chair a few times. Pushes him in the ring, hits his stroke finisher, and it's not a match.
Yeah, it was done in mere seconds.
I don't know if we're going to see Hennig again. I just don't know. I know I know it's only like 3 or 4 months and he overdoses, but like I don't know if we see him again. But we'll see.
Monkeys.
Yeah. He also starts beating up security with a chair until he leaves.
So,
Basically screaming about how pissed he is getting a key, being Mr. Wrestling 3. I think what they're supposed to be trying to do is like try to sell the idea that his overreaction is supposed to be damning. But again, I think the idea that he's Mr. Wrestling 3 is really stupid here, so trying to do that's just dumb.
Yeah.
Interview with Jerry Lynn. Goldilocks asks if he's still seeking revenge, and he says, no, not really. Revenge is something that will make him lose focus on other things, and he needs to focus on winning this match because he wants the opportunity at the championship. So, match number 7 is the last qualifier of the night. Sonny Siaki versus Jerry Lynn. Lynn makes a point to show off that his leg's better, doing some jumping jacks and a little jig. This was easily the best match so far of the night. These last 2 matches, actually. The first match was fine, but these 2 matches are... I say that, though there's nothing major of note happening. It's just a really solid performance by both these guys, showing off, things we've seen, the thing, a lot of mostly what we've seen from over the past few months. Though we get the story here basically that it's these two in another match again, but this time with a different set of stakes, which is a good way of giving a reason to put 2 guys who have had matches back together. Lynn goes for the finish. Lynn shoves Siaki off of him when he tries for his Siacalypse, but this causes him to bump into the ref, and the ref goes down. Siaki uses the opportunity, hits a low blow on Lynn, goes and gets a chair. This backfires, though, because the chair gets kicked into Siaki's face. Lynn goes for the pin, but the ref is still down. So Lynn tries to take this opportunity and do a little bit more damage to Siaki. Goes for a suplex onto the chair, but Siaki reverses this, hits a DDT, makes sure to get the ref's attention, and gets the pin in the victory.
My favorite thing.
Wait, no, he kicked out of this.
Yeah, he kicked out, and then he did the rope thing.
Yeah, and then he immediately did. I think he did one more move. I don't remember. And then he pins Lynn with his feet on the ropes to get the win.
Yeah.
I just say to note that this seems like a little bit much for the ending. They really could have just had the DDT. There's no reason to put his feet on the ropes. It's not like Siaki's had a long-running history of, doing something like using a chair and winning, and then, Lynn happened to be the one that fought past that, so he needed to find another way to cheat to win.
The only thing I can think of a situation like that is if other companies that he worked at, to work there. I'm not 100% sure because I don't watch wrestling.
No, he didn't.
If it was something from...
It may have been in WCW, but I don't think he's ever been in WWE.
I was just... WWE is the biggest one.
Yes.
So, it was an example, huh? See how mean he is to me?
You keep dropping way below.
You know what? There. Am I still dropping?
No, that's better.
Okay, so I have to talk like this the whole time. That's going to be fun.
Much better. Thank you.
Oh my god. This is going to get super annoying.
As I said, maybe we can get a better mic soon. I don't know.
Maybe. Like I said, people, do you hear how mean he is to me? So mean. All the time. I never get any...
because he got screwed, Lynn attacks Siaki after the match, fights him up the ramp, and then throws him off the stage into the guard railing, similar to how he was thrown a few weeks back when he injured his knee. So we don't get that sort of thing with Siaki. His knee is fine as far as we can tell, but just it's like some sort of poetic justice, revenge trying to get here. He already lost the match. No reason not to go for revenge.
Yeah. My favorite part of this entire match, and this actually impressed my husband, Brian, because it means I'm paying attention and I'm learning things. At one point in time, Oodles and Noodles messes up a move in a corner, and he ends up sitting on the back of Egomaniac, and I love it. And I don't know why, it's just great. I don't know the move he was trying to do or whatever.
I think, what he was trying to do was... He was trying to do this thing where, he's got his face, he's facing the corner. He tried to do the thing where he jumped up so his legs went up and Siaki went under. Then he tried to rotate his legs around entirely so that he could do a sunset flipping pin. But he didn't get the full rotation when he came down on Siaki. So instead he rolled through and did some sort of rolling underhook slam sort of thing. It wasn't. It was a good save for a botch he did.
Yeah, but it means that I'm not completely helpless with this. I don't like boring parts, and at least a lot of TNA I've noticed so far is kind of boring for me because I don't know the names of the moves 85% of the time. I don't even know the people's names because I make up my own nicknames.
I don't think you need to know the names of the moves.
Eh. And sometimes it's super. I can tell the fact that the hits are not connecting, and that's annoying to me.
Well, they're not actually hitting each other. It's the
I
time.
know. It's fake, not stupid.
Like when they do like the knife edge chops, those are 100% connecting.
Oh yeah.
Man, it's like a thing in Japan where you guys just. I have seen matches in Japan that are literally just two guys doing knife edge chops until one of them falls down and the other guy pins them.
Wow, that would be super sad.
No, it's actually
painful.
hilarious.
It'd be super painful too.
Yes. It looks like you're trying to take each other's nipples off.
Oh my god.
All right, we see Goldie with Lawler in the back, talking with April and him. He says their relationship is like one of the most loving relationships you could see. And he even says like everything's better, I'm gonna prove it, and they make out real quick. Then right after this, he comes out of the ring because he apparently asked for time to make an announcement. But he gets into a little tussle with a fan where he even pulls the fan, who's obviously a plant, over the guardrail and beats him up and bloodies him by biting his face.
Again,
And then he says, I'm not making my announcement because of assholes like that, and leaves. Ultimately, kind of a waste of time. It advances the story slightly and kind of kills time before he has his match with Six-Pac. But as I said, ultimately, just kind of a waste of time tonight. Again, another segment we probably could have just put into a match. Most of the matches, except for the last one, have been really.
Yeah.
And then this next one gets like 10 to 12 minutes. Well, that's fine. It's the X Division Championship match between Amazing Red and AJ Styles. We get a fast-paced back-and-forth opener. And then the story, and then we get a little bit of storytelling in the match. It's really simple, really, but elegant and basic, great in-ring storytelling. You don't need the commentary. The commentary spells it out for you, but you don't need them to spell it out for you.
You do if you don't.
So
pay
Red
attention.
is looking like he has AJ's number, basically, able to telegraph his moves. Like he tries for a springboard off the top rope, and Red is able to counter that with a drop kick to send AJ out of the ring. And then when he goes to go dive on him, AJ's ready to move out of the way, but again, Red's able to telegraph this and prevent him, holds onto the top rope so he doesn't, go flying off and hitting the ground. And then, jumps on AJ once he's turned back around again. So we get stuff like that for a bit, and this forces AJ Styles to change his own strategy. Because he can't do the flying stuff because that plays into Red's strength. So he turns to power moves because he is the bigger guy and he can do it.
It's so silly as a heel.
Which forces Amazing Red to change his strategy because now he can't rely on the flying stuff, him being able to telegraph the flying stuff better. So now he's got to turn it into quick counters with quick pins to try to get a surprise win. Because he cannot mount a consistent offense right now with these power moves being overpowered, slowed down. When we get to the end, it's a good match. We get quite a bit of that for a while, and then we get some momentum going back into Red's favor finally, before Plumtree grabs him by the leg to distract him. This barely plays into the finish though, as it does come when Styles goes for the spiral tap. Red is able to recover fast enough to stop him. He goes to do like a head scissors or a hurricane run off the top rope. Styles is able to catch him instead of getting flung off. Tries to put him into a second rope Styles clash, but isn't able to lock it in. Red comes up, does a Frankensteiner off the top rope with Styles, but Styles manages to reverse that when they land, roll through, pin Red, and get the win. Really good finish. I liked it. I really liked this match. I really liked the last match. First match was fine, and the tag match was fine. Everything else pretty much sucked. Anything you want to add for tonight, sweetheart?
Not particularly.
Okay. So, final score.
You want me to go first, or do you want?
Yes, I want you to go first.
Well, my top, Oodles and Noodles lost, which he's like my favorite, and Hastrada lost, and he's like top 5. So I'm gonna give this a fired.
I can't get over how angry the stupidity of that one Ron Harris BG James match was and how pointless it seemed. Even if it is telling a story, it's told so poorly I can't forget it. So I'm going fired today.
They could have played that out so much more differently, and they didn't.
Several things they could have done a lot better tonight. Either way, yeah, looking forward to next week.
Double fired. That doesn't happen.
Because I hope next week's an improvement.
It hopefully.
That's why I look forward to it. I hope for an improvement.
I don't know what the next week's thing is, because every time he has his heart attack segment, I freak out, and I'm so worried he's gonna die. And I know he's still alive.
I don't really listen to Don West hype the next week. Either way, that's it for this week. And unless my wife has something else to add.
Nope.
All right. Well, in that case, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe, and keep on wrestling.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.